probably heard of Edgar Allan Poe's Annabel Lee, right? It's one of the most famous poems out there about love and loss. But here's the thing. Underneath that beautiful, almost song-like surface, there's a story that's way more complex, and honestly, maybe a lot more disturbing than it first seems. So let's dive in and really deconstruct the genius behind Poe's final masterpiece. The poem kicks off with these unforgettable lines, and right away we're pulled into this world that feels just like a classic fairy tale. The language is so simple, so rhythmic, it's just enchanting. It totally sets the stage for what we think is going to be a timeless romance. And that is the central question we're going to explore. Because as you're about to see, pretty much every line that seems to celebrate this perfect eternal love could also be painting a portrait of a mind that's slowly coming apart. Okay, first let's just look at the story the way our narrator tells it to us. A tale of a perfect, almost supernatural love that's been tragically cut short. Poe is building this incredibly idealized fairy tale world from the get-go. The setting is vague and mythic, like something straight out of a storybook. And Annabel Lee, she's not really described as a person with her own thoughts and dreams. She's more like a perfect mirror for the narrator's love. Her only purpose was to love him. It's presented as this pure, all-consuming connection. So, this line right here is absolutely crucial. It's a paradox, isn't it? How can a love be more than love? Well, according to our narrator, their childhood bond was just so powerful that it went beyond normal human emotion. It was something special, something heavenly, maybe even something impossible. But of course, this perfect fairy tale world is about to be completely shattered. And this brings us to the poem's tragedy and the, let's say, bizarre explanation our narrator has for it. The narrator claims that their love was so pure, so perfect, that the angels up in heaven, the winged seraphs, actually got jealous. Now just stop and think about that for a second. He's suggesting that these beings of pure goodness, these celestial beings, were so envious of two kids in love that they turned malicious. And this is his reason for her death. It wasn't a sickness, it wasn't some random accident. Nope, it was a supernatural attack. He believes the jealous angels sent a magical wind from a cloud specifically to kill his love. It's a pretty fantastical claim that takes this from a sad story to some kind of cosmic battle over their love. In this right here is where we pivot. Because the narrator's really strange explanation forces us to ask, are we listening to someone recount actual magical events, or are we hearing the desperate rationalizations of a mind totally broken by grief? This question is basically the key to unlocking the whole second layer of the poem. Is the narrator's intense, burning focus on his lost love a beautiful show of devotion, or is it a sign of a dangerous delusion, a mind that's become unhinged by loss? This brings us to a classic literary tool, and one that Poe was an absolute master of, the unreliable narrator. If we start reading the poem through this lens, the whole story changes. His wild claims about angels and magic winds, they're no longer facts. They're clues to his psychological state. One of the biggest clues is the poem's structure itself. All the repetition, the phrases that keep popping up, that's not just for musical effect. It actually mimics the way an obsessive mind works, right? It keeps circling back again and again to the same fixed points of trauma. He says this, or some version of it, over and over again. It's like he's mentally trapped in that one place, the scene of his loss, and he just can't escape the memory. And he does the same thing with her name, just hammering it home constantly. His entire world, his whole vocabulary, it's all been boiled down to this one single, all-consuming obsession, his beautiful Annabel Lee. And this is maybe the most unsettling piece of evidence of all. He tells us he spends his nights lying by her side, in her tomb. Now, is that a beautiful metaphor for his soul being with hers forever, or should we take him literally? It's a chilling image of a man sleeping next to the corpse of his beloved. And the poem, it never tells us which one it is. So this leaves us with two completely different but equally powerful ways to read the entire poem. Is this a story about eternal love, or is it a portrait of a dangerously obsessive mind? Let's just break it down side by side. On one hand, you've got a love so powerful it made angels jealous and their souls are linked for eternity. It's a beautiful, moving story of love conquering death. But on the other hand, you've got a guy whose memories are totally unreliable, who's cut himself off from the world, and whose devotion involves sleeping in a tomb. it's a deeply disturbing picture of sanity being destroyed by grief. The fact that both of these interpretations are totally possible isn't a flaw in the poem. Actually, it's the very source of its incredible power. The real genius of Annabel Lee is that it's not just one or the other. It is, at the exact same time, a beautiful ode to a love that transcends death and a chilling psychological thriller about how grief can shatter a person's reality. It lives in that murky, ambiguous space right between the two. And ultimately, that's the question Poe leaves us with, isn't it? It's this riddle with no easy answer. It forces us to confront one of the most powerful and complicated human emotions, and it asks us to decide for ourselves, where does that profound, undying love end, and where does madness begin?